dedicated to strengthening governance and evidence-based decision-making and enhancing accountability among all stakeholders. Inclusivity is a fundamental aspect of our approach. We will ensure that women and youth and marginalized groups have access to resources, thereby facilitating their equitable participation in the agri-food sector. The outcome of the summit will be the adoption of the draft CAADP Strategy and Action Plan 2026-2035 and the draft Kampala CAADP Declaration. The summit will make landmark decisions that will shape Africa's agri-food system transformation for the next decade. In conclusion, this summit and the Kampala Declaration that will emanate from represent a critical turning point of our collective effort to transform Africa's agricultural system. It is a testament of our shared commitment to food sovereignty and a prosperous food security in Africa. As we move forward, I am filled with optimism that through our collective effort, we will realize the ambitious goal we have set for the next decade. I invite all the participants to actively engage in the discussion, share their insights, and contribute to the success of this summit. Together, we can ensure that the outcome will have a lasting and a positive impact on our continent, because we all know that our statistics, when the report comes, we are always a continent of food insecure. Let's change the narrative. The time is now. Let's feed Africa. Let all the cities in Africa have access to a nutritious food and affordable food. I am inviting all the participants to actively engage in the discussion, share their insights, and contribute to the success of this summit. Finally, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all the member states of the African Union Commission and the regional economic community for their continued support and collaboration throughout this process. It has truly been an incredible journey, and I am deeply appreciative of the trust placed in me to lead the Darbe for two consecutive terms, for 8 years. I am at the end of my term, and I thank all partners, everybody that brought their support during my 8 years tenure in the African Union as a commissioner of the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy, and Sustainable Environment. Our unwavering commitment to advancing Africa's agri-food system is inspiring, and it is through our collective effort that we will achieve the transformative change we see. I wish you all a happy new year, filled with health, happiness, and success. I thank you for your kind attention. Muito obrigado pela vossa atenção. Merci beaucoup pour votre attention. Muchas gracias pela sua atenção. Shukran. Asante sana.
Thank you so much, Excellency Sako, for the statement. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to recognize the presence of Excellency former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Haile Mariam Desalegn, who has just joined the meeting. Next, we are going to have statement by Honorable Dr. Gim Amente, Minister of Agriculture of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Honorable Dr. Gima, you have the floor.
Good morning. Right Honorable Robina Nabanja, Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, Honorable Frank Tumibaze, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries of the Republic of Uganda and Chair of the AU Specialized Technical Committee on Agriculture, Rural Development, Water and Environment, Your Excellency Ambassador Joseph Asako, Commissioner Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy and Sustainable Environment of the AU Commission, Honorable Ministers of the Member States, Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. First of all, I thank the government of Uganda for their warm welcome and hospitality. It is an honor and a privilege to stand before you today at this extraordinary summit of the African Union, where we gather under the vital theme Sustainable and Resilient Agro-Food Systems for Healthy and Prosperous Africa. This gathering is not just a meeting of minds, it is a convergence of our shared aspirations, collective challenges, and unwavering commitment of the future of agriculture and food security on our continent. As we embark on the journey of the Comprehensive African Agriculture Development Program, CAADP, Strategy and Action Plan for 2026 to 2035, we must recognize the critical role that agriculture plays in the socio-economic fabric of Africa. Agriculture is not merely a sector, it is a backbone of our economies, the source of livelihoods for millions, and a key driver of sustainable development. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the CAADP framework has been instrumental in guiding our efforts to enhance agricultural productivity, improve food security, and promote sustainable practices. However, as we look ahead, we must acknowledge the evolving challenges we face: climate change, population growth, urbanization, and the ongoing impacts of emerging global crises. Our vision for sustainable and resilient agro-food systems must be rooted in innovation, inclusivity, and sustainability. We envision a future where, number one, food and nutrition security is realized. Every African has access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food. We must prioritize investments in agricultural research and development, infrastructure, and technology to enhance productivity and reduce post-harvest loss. Second, sustainable practices are the norm. We must embrace sustainable agricultural practices that protect our ecosystem, conserve biodiversity, and mitigate the impacts of climate change. This includes promoting agroecology, sustainable land management, and water conservation techniques. Third, resilience is built into our systems. Our agri-food systems must be resilient to shocks and stresses. This requires strengthening our supply chains, diversifying our production systems, and investing in social productive safety nets to support livelihoods of vulnerable populations. Fourth, youth and women are empowered. The future of agriculture lies in the hands of our youth and women. We must create opportunities for young people to engage in agriculture through education, access to finance and technology. Empowering women as a key player in agriculture will not only enhance productivity, but also drive economic growth and social equity. Last, regional cooperation is strengthened. We must foster collaboration among African nations to share knowledge, resources, and best practices. Regional integration will enhance our collective capacity to address food security challenges and promote trade in agricultural products. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as the champion of CAADP, Ethiopia has cascaded the CAADP into its national agricultural investment plans, which has focused on transforming the agricultural sector to achieve food and nutrition security, improve livelihoods, and foster economic growth. The plan has significantly increased agricultural budget allocation and has demonstrated its commitment to meet the 6% annual growth targets of CAADP in the last 5 years. Furthermore, Ethiopia has taken practical exemplary steps by implementing national initiatives towards achieving its CAADP targets. To mention some of the key initiatives spearheaded by our Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed: 1. The Climate Resilient National Wheat Initiative, the initiative enabled to increase the annual wheat production to 23 million tons, turning Ethiopia to wheat self-sufficiency after almost 50 years of net imports. Second, the groundbreaking Green Legacy Initiative, which has resulted in planting 40 billion multi-purpose seedlings in the last 6 years, which has increased the forest cover of the nation from 17.2 to 23.6%. This initiative is also instrumental in creating resilient landscapes and livelihoods. Third, the transformative Lema True Fat or Bounty of the Basket initiative, which has improved the livestock sector production and productivity, focusing on poultry, dairy, fishery, apiary, and red meat. This initiative is designed to improve availability of proteins to enhance nutrition security. Lastly, all of our initiatives are aligned to our grand architecture of the Ethiopian agri-food system transformation roadmap. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we deliberate on the CAADP strategy and action plan, let us commit to actionable steps that will transfer our vision into reality. I urge each of you to prioritize investment, boost public financing, and attract private investment to drive agri-food system transformation. We have to enhance policy frameworks and develop and implement policies that support sustainable agricultural practices, promote food sovereignty, and protect the rights of smallholder farmers, and foster innovation and technology transfer, invest in research and development to harness the potential of technology in agriculture, from precision farming to digital platforms that connect farmers to the market. And finally, engage stakeholders, involve all stakeholders in the planning and implementation of agricultural policies, and ensure our strategies are inclusive and effective. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate the success of the CAADP for the last 2 decades, let us remember that this journey is a collective effort. It is through partnership, collaboration, and mutual respect among all stakeholders that we have achieved our vision of a food self-reliant, resilient, and prosperous Africa. Together we can build a healthy and prosperous Africa where food security is guaranteed, livelihoods are enhanced, and our agricultural systems are sustainable for generations to come. Moving forward, in the next decade of Kampala Declaration, let us continue to strengthen our alliances, share knowledge, and focus our efforts on ensuring that no one is left behind. Let us move forward with determination and purpose as we embark on this critical journey together. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Honorable Dr. Gema Mente, for your statement. Now we are going to have a statement by the chairperson of this meeting, Honorable Frank Tumwebaze, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries of the Republic of Uganda, and Chair of the AU Specialized Technical Committee on Agriculture, Rural Development, Water and Environment. Honorable Frank Tumwebaze, you have the floor. Thank you.
The Right Honorable Robina Nabanja, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, Your Excellency Ambassador Joseph Asako, the African Union Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy and Sustainable Development, and the AU team, Your Excellencies, heads of delegations, colleague ministers from the African Union member states, Excellencies and ambassadors and high commissioners, representatives of the African Union institutions, representatives of regional economic communities, our development partners, the media, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year 2025. Excellencies, 2025 will be a defining year for the future of the Africa's agricultural sector and I'm glad that we have started the year by holding a very high-level discussions on the agriculture sector. I also wish to welcome you to the Republic of Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, a country known for its unique features and attributes, starting with very hospitable people, unique flora and fauna, unique geographical features, and a fantastic weather. Once again, a very warm welcome to you all. Colleague ministers, you will recall that slightly over 20 years ago, that is in 2003, our heads of state and government adopted the comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program, abbreviated as CAADP, and that is the one of the strategies towards the realization of the Africa's Agenda 2063. As of today, we remain with about 38 years to end the Africa's Agenda 2063, implying that if we are to meet the targets set therein, we should be in full implementation mode now. With the second CAADP strategy and action plan, or the Malabo Declaration coming close to the end, in 2023, when I was elected the chairperson of the African Union Specialized Technical Committee on Agriculture, Rural Development, Water and Environment, my major task was to lead the process of drafting the successor strategy and action plan or agenda. I want to thank you very much for entrusting me with that noble responsibility and report to you that we are now at the penultimate stage of that assignment, as we are set to have the CAADP strategy and action plan 2026-35 and the CAADP declaration considered and adopted by the Assembly by the end of this summit. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the African Union Commissioner, and colleague ministers, allow me to single out the following categories and individuals for special mention, given their selfless contribution and support to the process of developing the CAADP Agenda 2026-35. Number one, I am very grateful to the Bureau of the Specialized Technical Committee on Agriculture, Rural Development, Water and Environment, which I serve and chair. This bureau is composed of the first vice chair is the Republic of Cameroon. The second vice chair is the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire. The third vice chair is the Republic of Namibia. And the rapporteur is the Republic of Egypt. Give them a round of applause. I wish to thank Ambassador Josepha Sako, Her Excellency, the African Union Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy, and Sustainable Development for your steadfast stewardship and leadership of the process with your very efficient team at the African Union Commission. I must add that the process of developing the CAADP, the Kampala CAADP Agenda 2026-35 was widely consultative, involving the public sector, parliamentarians, farmers' organizations, private sector, civil society, academia, and research, and the media, among others. I want to appreciate Dr. Godfrey Bahigwa, the Director for Agriculture at the African Union Commission, for your technical leadership of the process. And I want to appreciate the technical working groups, the conveners of the different working groups, and the technical drafting team that put together all the ideas collected during the consultation process to come up with the simple document that will be presented to heads of state and government during the extraordinary assembly. The regional economic communities under the coordination of the African Union, I thank you. The various stakeholders that participated in one way or another during the consultation process, either by way of submitting memoranda, by financial supporting the process, or in any other way. And my technical team at the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, led by the Permanent Secretary, Major General David Kasura Chomkama, for the technical backup. I thank them. And I thank you all for your invaluable contributions. You made this possible and you made Africa proud. Thrusting CAADP to the future. Honorable colleague ministers, the planning phase of the Kampala CAADP agenda ends during this summit. We must therefore move into implementation and execution mode. We will be having a detailed discussion on the strategy and action plan and the Kampala declaration after this opening session, and I urge you to be as candid as possible. You will recall that the document that I will be presenting to you during that session is your document, having adopted it at the ministerial session of the STC in October 2024 in Addis Ababa. It is by focusing on execution that we can make a meaningful impact on our continent and our people. We must move not with the times, but ahead of the times. This calls for advances in technological research and practices, building agricultural systems that are resilient to climate change and other shocks, agro-industrialization and the like. In this context, I wish to recall that the fourth session of the STC in 2021 agreed to establish 5 regional animal resources seed centers of excellence. Uganda was privileged to host one of the centers under the National Animal Genetic Resources Center and Data Bank, NAGRIC and DB. However, to operationalize the centers, participating countries are required to conclude memoranda of understanding, MOUs. We need to expedite this process in those regions where this remains outstanding, such as the Eastern African region. I look forward to having discussions with the concerned ministers on this subject, including at the sidelines of this summit, with a view to actualizing our decision that we made about 5 years ago. As I close my remarks, I invite you to spare time and visit the exhibition outside this convention center so that we can learn from each other with respect to advances in agricultural research and technologies. I invite you to spare time during the course of this summit to visit different tourist sites and activities that Uganda has to offer. And I'm urging you to prepare for and drive full-scale implementation of the Kampala CAADP agenda at national, regional, and continental levels. I thank you for listening to me. Asante sana, merci. God bless you. It's now my pleasure, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, to invite the Right Honorable Robina Nabanja, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, to give her official opening remarks. Madam Right Honorable.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, Ambassador Josepha Sako, Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy and Sustainable Development at the African Union Commission, and your team, the Honorable Ministers of Agriculture from the African Union member states, representatives of the African Union institutions, representatives of the regional economic communities, development partners, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the people and the government of the Republic of Uganda, allow me to register warm and fraternal greetings to you all and say, welcome to Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in the same spirit, allow me to extend a warm welcome to all of you to this ministerial session of the African Union Extraordinary Assembly on the Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program, during which member states will consider and adopt the post-Malabo CAADP agenda, henceforth to be known as the Kampala CAADP agenda. I have been briefed that over the past 1.5 years, the African Union Commission has led the process of drafting a comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program Strategy and Action Plan 2026-2036 and the Kampala Declaration, and that the process has been widely consultative. Ladies and gentlemen, on its part, Uganda, as the chair of the African Union Specialized Technical Committee on Agriculture, Rural Development, Water and Environment, has provided strategic oversight at the political level. The whole process, which has been under the supervision of you, as the Ministers of Agriculture, has now come to an end, with the Specialized Technical Committee set to present the strategy and the action plan, as well as the draft declaration, to the Assembly of the Heads of State and Government. I congratulate you upon this milestone. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, with the summit set to consider and adopt the strategy and action for the period up to 2035, I wish to remind you that this will be the third in a series of 10-year CAADP strategies, and that third biennial review of implementation of the Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program carried out in 2023 noted that we as African countries needed to do better than we have been doing in order to achieve the targets that we set for ourselves some 20 years back, that is in the year 2003. Therefore, I want to urge you as sector ministers across the continent to continue to guide us on where we need to readjust in order for us to meet our own targets. You will note that CAADP is one of the strategies towards the realization of the Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. Therefore, let us work deliberately to get what we want as a continent. As a continent, as the continent's agriculture sector ministers, I urge you to deliberately work to reduce Africa's over-reliance on food imports from outside the continent. We must position the continent in such a manner that our agricultural sector is resilient to climate change as well as other shocks and is adaptive to advances in technology. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the African Development Bank report indicates that more than 60% of the Africa's working population is engaged in agriculture. Number two, that the soil across most of the continent is rich and fertile. Number three, that Africa has 65% of the world's remaining uncultivated arable land, and that Africa can or has abundant fresh water with enough rainfall and a good number of days of sunshine each year. Yet, in 2021, Africa's food imports were about $100 billion, fueled mainly by the population growth. What a shame that a continent that was gifted by God with such a proportion of the world's arable land and fertile land is experiencing such a trend in food imports. this session of this summit should come up with concrete proposals on how Africa can come out of such an undesirable situation. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, for us to guarantee our future as Africans, we must feed ourselves. The process of drafting and adopting the strategy and action plan is now coming to an end. I urge you to now focus your energies on implementation. And this will be a combined effort from national to regional and continental levels. Let us work together in a complementary way to deliver the Africa we want. Let me close my remarks by putting forward a few areas of my concern. One, there is need for policy reviews for food security and nutrition. Number two, investing in research for improved seeds and livestock. Number three, we need to consider disease control. Number four, investment in irrigation and mechanization is a must to mitigate climate change and enhanced production. Number four, in order to align the African population, we need to mobilize them for production, productivity, and profitability. As Africa, that's number six, we must remain focused to the fact that regional trade has the potential to back regional and national development, and that it can lead to greater economic and political cooperation. Avoid trade barriers. We need each other for development. We must take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is about 1.5 billion people, COMESA, ECOWAS, and the East African Community, and stop exporting raw materials and add value to our agricultural products, such as coffee, cocoa, tea, milk, to mention but a few. Why not export finished and blended products from Africa? Why not? With these remarks, it is now my singular duty and honor to declare this ministerial session of the African Union Extraordinary Assembly of Heads of State and Government on the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program officially open for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Prime Minister, for your opening remarks. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, now we kindly invite Right Honorable Robina Nabanja, Prime Minister of Republic of Uganda, former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, and all Excellencies, heads of delegation, to accompany the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Uganda to a group photo. Please take note, as a sign of respect, we only expect the heads of delegation to be on the group photo. The rest of us should freely be seated as a sign of respect until all our leaders have exited the room. Then we can exit for a healthy break. Further, kindly take note that we shall be expected to resume the meeting in 20 minutes as a closed session. And only those who are supposed to participate in the closed session will be expected back in the room. I thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello, sir. I'm good. How are you? Just arrived. You missed the photo, but you know. Yes, sir. I will tell him. I will tell him.